You tempted us by saying that you thought there were some things Rand could do and perhaps even us citizens can do, but then you ran out of time. And I'm wondering, was that just convenient, or do you feel like you can say something in this forum?
Sure. No, I think no. We don't get into. I got interested in this subject because I began to realize that I felt like maybe like the frog in the boiling the water pot. You know, where the heat gets turned up. I've been doing this job long enough. I began to notice I seem to be making people madder and madder. So I wondered if there was something going on that. So I got interested in this subject because of that. You know, I suddenly said, "Wait, this pot's pretty hot." I think we just do what we do. We provide analysis. We do it on the basis of the scientific method, even though it's about politics and policy. We are honest. We publish, and we just keep doing it because people want it. There are people we know people want it. We have a huge number of downloads of our studies off of our websites. There are people on Capitol Hill, despite what I just showed you here. There are, sometimes I feel like a dwindling number, but there are people who want to consume this work, and we do know we're trusted. So I think we just have to keep doing what we're doing, and that's that's our role. We don't have any political movement role to play at all. That's up to you folks. I'm just bringing the facts.
Citizens, what can citizens do through his polarization?
Well, I think you've got. I mean, this is all ultimately about what candidates are offered, and how you make determinations on your own voting in privacy. I'd watch out, to be honest, I'd watch out for lying. And here I mean intellectual lies. I mean people who say things they know are not true, which is an intellectual lie, in order to get themselves into office. And that is the beginning of that is part of the process of polarization, and I think if you can do things from the standpoint of, if I wouldn't rule out if there's some issue in Ohio regarding gerrymandering, which may have a positive effect. I would certainly like to see it eliminated just simply on the basis of honest voting. Not necessarily it's going to bring about a change here. There are primary issues involving primaries, how they're structured, which may have a difference as well. But I think that's up to this individual citizen. I don't have any particular advice.
Yes, I'd like to say hello first off. And secondly, I would like to ask, have you ever felt oblivious to the fact of where you stand around political polarization?
I felt, not oblivious. I felt, where do I don't quite understand the question. Maybe a different.
Like, have you ever had a point in time where you didn't understand which side you were on around it?
Oh yeah, pretty much frequently. Yeah. No, it's quite common. Yeah, you can imagine. I tend, frankly, I'm very fortunate in the job I have. I'm able to. I have a lot of people working at the Rand Corporation. I almost said for me. That would be maybe I'm working for them. And I have the opportunity to see what they do, and I see that's the best part of my job. I spend a lot of time with the researchers. I learn about what they're doing, how they do it. So I've accumulated a good deal of knowledge over the years about many of the facts that surround the debate over public policy, and has made me. Frequently made me feel uncomfortable in some social settings because I'll hear somebody say something and I'll know it's not true. And so then I have the problem of whether I should explain that to them or not. And usually, and I find myself increasing, it depends on where I go, because I've got a lot of liberal friends and I got a lot of conservative friends, but they're not in the same social settings. I think both groups think that one group thinks I'm a crazy liberal and the other one thinks I'm a recalcitrant conservative. So I feel this particular issue as what I meant by feeling like the frog sometimes in the pot where the heat's being turned up. It's become sort of noticeable to me. But it's a great job I've got, which gives me an opportunity even to do some of this kind of statistical work.
Dr. Thomson, as a retired builder and real estate broker, I'm very thoughtful that in the beginning of my career, people would come from out of town and ask where their ancestral and religious group lived in looking at houses. And now, because we build tract developments, people want to know where their economic and educational fellow citizens live. So I think we're dividing people up where there used to be a mixture. It's now, I think that's affecting the voting and how things are done. What do you think?
You're absolutely right. I could show you more charts on that topic. You're absolutely correct. That's very interesting, that observation, because it's always useful to have somebody who's out there may reinforce the data. And the data do demonstrate that it's easier now to predict how a member will vote today than it would have been in the mid-1970s if you know the demographic characteristics of their district. If you know their income, the average income of the district, the average education level, the race, ethnicity mix, and those three things will get me be twice as accurate with those three things that I would have been in the mid-1970s. So your observation is correct.
Does religious affiliation have anything to do with polarization? Is there data to support that or not?
Yeah, that's not that I have exactly. There is the book, which is, if you're interested in this, I helped them sell their books, I guess, but The Big Sort, which was published about 2 years ago. The main author was Bill Bishop. And they do present data on religion, and they do argue in the book that adherence to traditionalist religions is more likely to generate a Republican vote than not. What I don't know is, and what I can't say, and this is I'm being honest here, is whether that is simply just related to these demographic issues, which I can be confident about, and may just simply be swamped by those, or not. I can't say. I have an anecdote in my paper from Reverend Warren in Orange County, where he was asked after the 2004 election, "How did your flock vote?" And he said, "Oh, they went 90% for Bush, but hey, it's Orange County." But the trouble is, Orange County only went by 60% for Bush. So if his observation is right, then maybe there's an explanation of some sort there. But I don't know. Yeah.
Dr. Thomson, this is a follow-up of my brother's question. You did get to the end of your speech, frankly, holding us in some suspense as you described a nation polarized to a very high degree, and you managed to get through the part of your remarks where you said, at least there's Rand to turn to in time of distress. So yeah, I'm glad you didn't run out of time for that message.
Right.
So picking up on that message, if some morbidly obese cat with way too much money were to approach Rand and hire you to look at the question of how could you build a policy commons in this country that would do in a more general way, more generally accessible way, what Rand does in its more specialized consultancy type way. What would it look like?
A policy commons. Yeah, I'm looking for my colleagues here to see. I think you mean a place for debate. Yeah, a place where people could go to debate. Well, I mean, I think there is some of that happening now on the internet, but I think you have to, there's not as much that's not affiliated with one group or another. But I think the internet modern communications does, in addition to being a contributing factor, as I mentioned, I think it does provide for opportunities as well for getting debate going. But a lot of this has to happen, frankly, at the local level.